Hello again, Zul is back, and as I said, I will be continuing this book this very moment. So, here we go. Monster by Blackwing. Fitting in. Nightshade finally passed into sleep, and for once, he was alone in his dream. For the past 2 years, whenever he felt the embrace of sleep, Lyra was always waiting for him. This time, she was not. It was very late at night, and she must be asleep. Since he wasn't there, that meant her training with Celestia has gone well, and she was no longer forced into his head whenever she was asleep. Although she was glad to have some peace at last. It was also a little unwavering. In his mind, he went over the various things he needed to. He was staying at Fluttershy's house, and although she was never kicking out, he was far too kind to do so. Nightshade hated relying on others. He had always done things himself, and while he would accept the kindness of others, he would always make sure to return the favor. The first thing he needed was a permanent place for him and Skulu to live, and this time he wanted to be in a proper house, with appliance furnaces, not just some shack in the woods. There was plenty of room at the edge of the forest, and he could have a house right across the path from Fluttershy's. Partly because he wanted to see her for a bit more, and also because it could be scary being so close to the forest and living all alone, and he thought having someone else out there bring some relief. To that, however, he needed money, and a lot of it. He had visited Segora quickly after the party and found that she already collected all the herbs she needed for the winter. With his help, it was mid-November, and various plants would not grow again till spring. He could help out in the orchard, laying around plants and all his life. He knew about the thing about farming. He could also help at Sugar Cube Corner, although he dreaded the thought of having to hang around Pinky all day. Nothing against her, but she was just too hyper for his lifestyle. He couldn't help with the weather preparing for winter, as he could not fly. Although maybe he could do some home repair to help Ponyville get ready. After all, he did build the house out of nothing but logs and thatch. Maybe he could ask Twilight what's needed to be doing around town. His train of thought was cut off by Preston entering his mind. Not something familiar like Lyra. It was something powerful. Not as powerful as Celestia or Luna, but definitely not a pushover. This thing, whatever it was silent, as you could not see it, but its presence was something altogether sinister. He awoke in a cold sweat. He hadn't had a nightmare in years. Not most because he didn't sleep for years, and the times that he did had Lyra kept his mind from wandering. Figure, since he has some deep mental scarring, he was probably going to have nightmares for a time until he could actually cope with the events in the past. He brushed it off. 6 a.m. Great. The first time I get some shut eye without physical interruption, and I can only get for 4 hours, Nightshade said absent-mindedly. Although considering his previous sleep schedule, and that before he learned how to use his power, he always had mild insomnia. It wasn't too much of a surprise. The sun wasn't even up yet. It was nearing winter, so Celestia raised the sun later to allow the temperature to drop. He stepped outside to get some fresh air, and found none other than Luna flying overhead. Seeing the moon princess, he waved to her, and she flew down to him. Enjoying the night, I presume? Well, considering how long I was strictly nocturnal, and for the rest of the time slept was either random nor existent, I guess you could say I'm having a little trouble adjusting, he explained quietly, not wanting to wake up the others in the cottage. Couldn't sleep? Said Luna, raising her eyebrow to excuse. Yeah, what brings you here? I thought you were heading back to Cantlot, trying to change the subject while they had resolved differences. He was still walking on thin ice with royal sisters and didn't want to do all the talking. Well, we have discovered that an old enemy, one who thought has been defeated, has returned. There is no cost for worry, however. It's still weak, and we shall put it to an end it shortly. I was tracking it, and it seems to have passed by him, she explained. She was trying to hide her feeling, and her face was partly portrayed no emotion, but looking in her eyes, he could tell that whatever it thing, it was to hurt her personally. Nightshade recalled the presence he felt in his mind, but it was nothing more than a fragment of his imagination, but about troubling in the past. Then again, he thought the same of Lyra, and she was too real. I think you may be right. I felt something a little earlier, about 10 minutes ago. Something sinister. It didn't say or do anything, and I couldn't see it, but it felt like a mix of cruelty and misery. He decided that even if it was a dream, it's better to tell her just in case it wasn't. It's not like something he needed to hide. After all, both princesses had been in his mind for several days, and all his secrecy has been revealed to them. Well, I was correct. Thank you for your assistance. I must continue chasing it immediately. And with that, Luna flew off into the forest. Heading back inside, Fluttershy was now awake as well, despite having been very quiet. She could hear him well enough to be woken, partly because of the regular silence, and partly because she was possibly the best listener in the world. Yikes. She was making breakfast, and had already set out food for the animals. Um, you're up, she said meekly. Yeah, I couldn't sleep, he responded. She was obviously feeling a little awkward around him, judging by how she blushing. She tried to ask him why, if it was maybe because the couch was uncomfortable, or it was drafty, or any number of other things. He had to explain that it wasn't usual to sleep at the night, that they were just switching his sleep schedule over. That made her calm down a bit. She made homemade pancakes with raspberries on top. Oh goddamn, that's good. She was going to use strawberries, but Nightshade explained that he was allergic to them. Damn. I hate to impose on you, but do you have any maple syrup? He asked. I'm sorry? She didn't understand. Uh, well, if you don't have any, it's okay, he backpedaled. I don't know what it is, she said, confused. What the hell? Ponies didn't have maple syrup. They had pancakes. What's wrong with this place? Well, where do you get your sugar? He asked. Well, we normally have it shipped. There are several sugar cane farms in the southern Equestria, and they make it there, Fluttershy said. Well, as soon as I get his house built, I know exactly what he's going to do to make bits. Living in northern Michigan, he had been to Canada several times during the fall, and on his visits he practically lived on the various sugar shacks and dedicated to the making and showing tourists how to make maple syrup. They made some of his favorite trees. They saw plenty of maple trees here in the Everfree Forest, and knew exactly what he needed to do to make it. It would be late spring. Then the sap started to flow. Perfect timing. Although he really didn't want to bring any influence from Earth to Equestria. This was the one thing that they simply could not do without, and it was harmless. Well then, came springtime. I guess I have to show you something new. He had been this excited very long time. While they did have things like caramel apple, it was made from processed and refined sugar. They needed the natural stuff. But first, he needed to get his house built. Say, Fluttershy, do you know anywhere in town I could make some bits? He asked casually. Well, you can help me here, taking care of the forest animals, he said shyly. I mean, they tend to get injured since the forest is a dangerous place. You are good with healing things. I couldn't charge you for that. You're letting us stay here. Besides, the force has given me so much. I think it's about time I start giving it back. So I do it, but I do not for money. He couldn't make her pay him. She's letting him and Skudlu stay in her house for free, even though they were awkward between them. If you want to. She's surprised that he wouldn't accept payment. Heck, if he had asked, she would probably have just given him the bits. Partly because she couldn't say no to someone who needed help, partially because she liked him, and partially because, despite her humble adobe, she was actually quite wealthy. This was due to having a frugal lifestyle and taking care of Opal, which Rarity instead says that she paid for her, being the element of generosity, after all. After using his ability to treat several injured animals, then pass the injuries into the trees, he thanked her for breakfast and got Skudlu ready for school. She was dying to have him meet her class and teacher, since a family application day was coming up. She had parents for previous. She was very excited to finally show him off to her class. Alright, Scoot, I go. It's not like I had to hide anymore. While staying hidden, there was a best of both of them at the same time. He's already regretting not being able to be more active in her life. Now that he was out in the open, he could do all the things that he had missed. Particularly, the upcoming running of the leaves, held on December the 1st. The ponies would run through the forest in a marathon, the vibration from all the hoofs knocking the leaves off the branches. Why they didn't follow their own, he didn't know. But they had a different world here, different rules, and he wasn't about to question about it. Time went on. Nightshade could heal the injured animals so much faster than a traditional method, that Fluttershy actually found herself with more free time than she knew what to do with it. She thought about spending more time with him, just as a friend, mind you, to maybe see if he would open up a bit more. Nightshade, on the other hand, had extremely busy with all the odd jobs he had been taking on to earn money, and building his new house. Right across the path from hers. Monday, help Pinkie Pie make the week's orders. Done. While she was too hyper for him, she made goddamn good cupcakes. Tuesday, help Twilight reorganize a library. For the umpteenth time. Done. Why she had to do it every weekend was beyond him. Wednesday, fix town hall's roof. Maybe out to do fix therapist's eyes instead. Dips do, also known as therapy. Had, had crossed eyes that for some odd reason he couldn't heal. Maybe they weren't damaged. She wasn't mentally ill. She was just silly, and her eyes matched her personality. Although it meant for several parts of the hall to be periodically repaired due to her mess-ups, working as the mailman. He was most frequently around town hall, which doubled as the post office, and took the brunt of the damage. Done. Tuesday. Meets school's teachers, classmates. Okay, Friday. Deliver some dresses from Rarity to Manhattan. I sure hope they got the news about me, or I be it being tough. Saturday. Day off. And Sunday, running of the leaves. I'm looking forward to that. It was Wednesday on the only one in afternoon, and he had already finished fixing the town hall. What can I say? He heard he's a hard worker, doesn't he get tired? All he had to do was take 10 minutes break after 3 hours to recharge. He gets right back to it. It helped that he actually had proper tools this time. After delivering cake to some very surprised ponies, because of it being a surprise cake and half because it was who delivered it, he collected his bits from Mr. Cake and was on his way, bumped into Apple Bloom. What you doing, Mr. Nightshade? Mr. Nightshade? So was he that old? He was only 21. Hey, that's Uncle Nightshade to you. Why not? He was Goodlu's dad, and she was like a sister to her. And I'm trying to draw up some plans for me and Scoot's new house. Unfortunately, I'm no artist, and everything I try turns out as well. He showed her. Yikes, that's pretty bad, she said. Sure, he was good at Minecraft. That was because he could build as he went and change whatever he wanted whenever he wanted. That, and it didn't need to obey the laws of physics. Mind if I give a whirl? She said excitedly. Once, she didn't say anything about getting her cutie mark, which none of the three, despite their age. Sure, he reminded me of something. You still crusading? Sure I am, she said with a pencil in her mouth. Seriously, this pony could draw better with her mouth than he could with his hands, but not as often anymore. They kind of started to run out of ideas. I guess it's just like every pony says, it's something you just can't force. She finished in record time. While Nightshade may not be able to draw, he could definitely read blueprints. And this was a masterpiece of structural engineering. Thanks. I get to work on this right away. Since he only need nails, an axe, a saw, a hammer, and some bricks for foundation to get started. As he could just get lumber from the forest next door, he spent the rest of the day gathering wood and making it into planks. Minecraft's got nothing on me. Yeah. Nightshade took out the blueprint again, and taking another glance, he noted that they were very well done. It left room everything they needed, as well as room for additional if they needed it. Now it's the kid that didn't have her cutie mark in home design. He didn't know. That's when he got an idea. It would have to wait for another day though. On his way through the town, checking to see if was there anything else that he needed to be done. He noticed Sweetie Belle singing. When he asked about it, she said just something she made up. It sounded beautiful, and the lyrics were pretty good too. This gave him an idea. Yes, yes, things are working out well. Arriving at Fluttershy's house, he found that Scully was already waiting there. She was inside, crying, and Fluttershy was comforting her. Hey, hey, what's the matter? He said in a soft voice, as he could. He could tell that she was really upset. The others, the other ponies are making fun of me again, she sobbed. This whole blank flank thing again? He knew that she has been teased about it before. She shook her head. No, they say you're not real. They say I lied about being adopted, just for attention. And tomorrow on Family's Appreciation Day, they say you don't come. And they all laughed at me, she said, tears welling up in her days. There are three things Nightshade hated more than anything: the greedy, the manticores, and the bullies. Since he had been often bullied in his school due to not having friends, he knew that all too well that she was going through. It didn't matter what they said, it was that way they said it, that it even wasn't true. It hurt. Not having been hit several times by kids who only had the damage passed back to them. They had to resort to name calling. Words stung even more than being hit. Well then, I show up tomorrow. I just have to be my regular self. And then they feel like total morons of saying I don't exist. I mean, seriously, weren't they at the town meeting? Every pony was there. Scully shook her head. Doesn't know. Let me guess. Spoiled rich kid who were traveling with their parents on business trip. She nodded yes. Oh, this was going to be fun. I've got something special planned for tomorrow. He put an evil grin. Promise you'll be there tomorrow? She asked with pleading eyes. Cross my heart, hope to fly, slip a cupcake in my eye. He has been hanging out with Pinky too much. By the way, no matter what anyone says, if you know it's not true, then just make them idiots for saying it. Don't let them get to you. Besides, after tomorrow, I think they will be strangely quiet. After heading off to sleep, he found that he much easier to relax than he didn't have his belly full of sugar. He didn't understand how Pinky could not be a diabetic, giving the sugar she ate every day. When he finally passed out, he felt the same sinister force in his mind. Okay, first time around, I admit, I was scared, but now they're just pissing me off. You show up out of nowhere, uninvited, and go poking around in my memories. What's your game? He said, trying to sound imitating. After all, this was his mind. He had basically God in there, able to do whatever he wanted other than kick something out. You have delicious memory, little humans. It said with a voice that made his skin crawl. If it laughed, he could finally see it, a cloud of pitch black smoke in his mind. He was looking through all the times he had acted with hate and anger. He was also intrigued at the fight with the princesses. What are you? He asked, somewhat disturbed about this entity. I am your worst nightmare. Suddenly, he looking at his own face, from what he had fought Gilda. He truly looked like a monster. Seeing himself like that stirred something up in him, a mix of fear and anger that used to be him, not anymore. Even though it was less than a month ago, after dealing with princesses, meeting Twilight and her friends, more specifically Floodshine, and finally being able to go out to public, he had changed. He wasn't the same demon that needed to be feared. He was part of the town now. He had somewhere he belonged, and people, ponies, who cared about him, calling his fond memories to comfort him from the negative feeling that the creature suddenly like he had been creeped out, and it left. He was glad to be rid of his present, and was left in sleep in peace. That's until Lyra popped in. Hey, I've been trying to get hold of you for an hour now. What have you been doing? Nothing important. I need to talk to Celestia and Luna, though, Nightshade responded. That's why I've been trying to get hold of you. They need you to get to Canterlot tomorrow. Something urgent, Lyra responded. Tomorrow, as in tomorrow? He didn't know why he said that. Yes, tomorrow. First thing in the morning. Sorry, I can't. I have to wait for afternoon. He said had to go to school, or school would be devastated. Royal order. You are to come right away. Lyra getting annoyed now. Tell the princess that all due respect. Too dang bad. I have to be at school tomorrow for family appreciation. School has been looking forward to this. There's no reason enough. The kid's already teasing her. If I don't show up tomorrow, she'll be crushed. I pinky promised I would. If Celestia or Luna needs to talk to me that badly, then I'm afraid they just have to come here. Or wait till Saturday when I have a day off. He may have smoothed things over with them, but that doesn't mean that he was just going to be a pushover. Besides, he'd rather stick off the princess than break a Pinkie Pie promise. Yeah, you don't do that. Okay. That was fitting in. My throat. There will maybe be another chapter, or maybe not. We'll see. But at least 2 chapters in one day. Yeah, I see you next time. Zulu signing off.